The Center for Audit Quality presents Profession in Focus.
Hello, and welcome to this edition of Profession in Focus. I'm Cindy Fernelli, the Executive Director of the Center for Audit Quality, and I'm very pleased today to have as our guest Maria Castañón Moats, who is the newly appointed Assurance Leader for PwC. So welcome, Maria.
Happy to be here, Cindy.
So we have a lot to talk about, so I want us to dive right in.
Sure.
First, though, before we talk about your role as the Audit Assurance Leader at PwC, I know you just came off a tour as PwC's Head of Diversity and Inclusion. So tell me a little bit about what you learned during that process.
So I'll share with you that being the diversity leader for the firm was one of the most rewarding roles I've had in my career, and it was terrific. So I learned a lot, for sure. First thing I'll share is that when I think about our roles as leaders, leading business units, companies, it is a very important role to set the right tone in an organization, to tell people why diversity and inclusion matters. So I'll share learnings from the beginning of someone's career. When we think about diversity and inclusion in our profession and attracting the right people into our profession, it's absolutely critical that we work together to expand the pool of people that are out there that can join. How do we do that? We do it by going out to communities, meeting with parents, extended networks, working with academics, working with organizations like yourself and the AICPA to really make sure that together we expand that pool and that we attract the right talent, and we're competing for talent. Second, when we think about retaining that precious talent, what I learned are several things. One is that they absolutely need to feel like they belong within our walls. And so that's where inclusion comes in. Not so much from people like you and I that lead organizations, but really from those people in that conference room, in that project room with them. That's where the inclusion happens, and it's critical. And then when you think about advancement, without a doubt, they need to see role models. That's why I'm very proud of a couple things. One is our leadership team, our new leadership team that our new senior partner has put together. Not only is each one of the lines of service, when you think about my role leading audit, but also tax and advisory, they're led by diverse professionals, but the rest of the leadership team is diverse in terms of gender and experiences, many of whom have worked and lived outside of the United States. That's critical. And then when you think about our representation, at PwC, 47% of the people in our workforce are women, and 33% are diverse, 1 in 3. And now our new partner class, 44% of the 2016 new partners are women or diverse professionals. And that's something I can be proud of. And I'll end by saying this. We're on a journey. We're not there yet as an organization or as a profession, but great strides to date. And as you know, diversity is not just an issue within our profession, but really corporate America. The SEC is focused on this issue, Chair White is focused on this issue, and so more to come.
So now let's talk specifically about the opportunities in the profession for a younger person, regardless of their ethnicity or their gender. What are some of the opportunities, the exciting things about joining the auditing profession that you would share with the younger generation?
To me, the profession gives you opportunities to see things you never thought you would see. I shared with you earlier that I never envisioned going to the places around the world I've been to, meeting the people that I've met, eating the foods that I've eaten throughout this world, right, as I've traveled. And so it's a tremendously exciting profession, a bit opaque in that people don't understand exactly what we do. So the advice that I give people in terms of joining our profession, this is a profession where you could really dream big. Where do I get the dream big from? My mother. I grew up in modest means, and my mother would always say to me in Spanish, "Nada nos cuesta soñar, así es que hay que soñar en grande." Translated, it means it doesn't cost us anything to dream, so let's dream big.
Oh, I love that. That's
and so
great.
that's what I
in
tell
any
people.
Language.
Come here, dream big, and allow us as well, if you bring the right attitude, to dream big for you. We are career architects. We will make you a great person, a great leader. You will have the career you never envisioned.
Well, those are great words for us to take with us, all of us. So talk to me a little bit, I'm going to shift gears. I know something that you focus on as the assurance leader now is innovation in audit. And so we hear a lot about technology and innovation, but what does that mean to you as the assurance leader for PwC? What can we expect to see in the audit?
Sure. So here's the thing, Cindy. The world is changing, our clients are changing, and we need to change as well. We need to change the way we deliver our services. At PwC, we call that simplifying the audit through innovation. And there are really three components to break it down in simple terms. The first one is technology. You alluded to that. There's no question that we're investing to basically bring in the best technology into the audit. When you think about all the data that's out there, our investments around extracting the data, compiling the data, and comparing data, structured and unstructured sources, to then have insights, to go from sampling of data to get audit evidence to actually looking at complete data sets, phenomenal. So we have some tools that I'll share. Something we call Halo, which is our data extraction and visualization tools that we use not only in the audit, but when we provide non-audit services as well. Terrific tool. Our audit work papers. It's a tool called Aura. When I started over 25 years ago, it was the traditional hard copy work papers. Now it's a single instance to gather audit evidence. You can access your work papers from your computer or your mobile device. So when you think about a working mother like myself, tremendous from a flexibility perspective. That single instance is used throughout the world. That's our Aura tool. And then I'm very excited about something we call Connect, which is a tool that's web-enabled where I can actually gather the information I need from clients, and together we can access what's been provided to us, not provided, transparency in a process that used to be a back and forth. So that's technology, and that helps us simplify and innovate the audit. Two other quick things: how we treat our people, right? The people experience is getting better because of all these tools, because people can now apply data analytics techniques to really look at what the data is telling them as opposed to more of the traditional methods that I used growing up in the career. Very exciting to our people. In terms of not just having full-time employees, but people that work in delivery centers, centers of excellence, people that tell us that they want to work this part of the year or this part of the year because that makes sense for you. We call that flexible talent network. All options that are available to our people that weren't available before. So it's a different people experience. And the last thing is process. And I'm big on process and process improvement. We're taking a Six Sigma lean process approach to how we approach things that we do in an audit to gather evidence. We work directly with our clients to identify pain points. We then look at root cause analysis, and together we come up with a plan on how to improve that process and address the pain points. So technology, people, and process. That's how we're approaching the innovation.
So let me ask you a follow-on question. Sure. And I think you can help dispel a misconception, because I think it is a misconception. But I've heard people posit that given the innovation in audit, as you just described it, that will mean that in the future we need fewer auditors. I don't think that's true, but am I wrong in thinking that that's not true?
You're correct in thinking it's not true. Basically, we're using more machines, artificial intelligence. We need to bring that into the fold. What will happen now as humans, what we'll bring, which we've always had in this profession, is that judgment. Critical, right? Is that professional skepticism, which is a tenet in our profession, as you know, as auditors. So our people will now not have to do all the data gathering and analysis, et cetera, that we used to do, and can now focus on exceptions, on outputs to apply that judgment. So people are absolutely required in the audit of the future.
That's great to know. And then finally, talking about the audit of the future, you touched on it a little bit, but talk to me about what we as a profession can do around helping companies understand and address their cybersecurity risks. Is there a role for auditors in that area?
Sure. So there's definitely a role for us as auditors. There's a role for boards, audit committees, and management. I'll start with our role. So clearly, to the extent that there is a cyber issue, right, a threat, professional standards require that we come in, we understand what happened, we understand whether that breach went beyond the network or perimeter layer into those that matter more for key financial applications. Without getting too technical, as you know, you then get into layers like operating system layers, database layers, and more importantly, the application layers inside. So we understand that. We then understand the impact on financial accounts. We understand the impact on disclosures and the like. That's what's required under professional standards. Where we can play a role is because we look at in companies across many industries, across many regions, geographies around the world. We can bring those insights in terms of what we're seeing at other companies and how companies and boards can address that. Very important. The future is definitely to give a test, to give assurance over what we're seeing in terms of cyber. We are moving towards that as a profession. But let me just explain what I see as the role for the board and for audit committees. Boards, as part of their due diligence, need to understand how the company and the management team are addressing these risks, how they're changing their processes and their controls, right? And audit committees have always had a leadership role when you think about setting the right tone and what, in terms of what is required to address this very important risk. So I think everybody has a role to play. When we look at our survey last year, we surveyed CEOs. 88% of the CEOs indicated that this cyber risk matters to them very much when they think about their growth prospects. And when you look at the increase in detections, that went up 38%, 2015 as compared to 2014. So clearly it's going up, and it's in the millions of dollars in terms of what companies spend. So I think that the investing public at large, companies, auditors, boards, all have a role to play here.
Great. Well, we look forward to what the future brings at PwC and the profession around attestation and assurance. Maria, thank you for your time today. I very much appreciate it. And this will end this session of Profession in Focus. I hope you'll join us again next time.